All right, so today we're going to be going over a demo of ReviewStream and just kind of walking through how it works. So to begin, we're on the sign up page. We'll want to input our information, our company name, we'll say ReviewStream, our email address, and our password. We'll agree to the terms of service and start our free trial. So step one is, where would you like more reviews? So here you're going to want to select the platforms that you want reviews on. So in our case, we'll start out with Google My Business and we'll continue. So step two is, what would you like reviewed? So there's two types of businesses. There's e-commerce businesses and brick and mortar businesses. And here you'll kind of select which one is most appropriate to your use case. So since we're a hypothetical brick and mortar business, we'll go with business and we will name our business. We'll say ReviewStream and we will select our platform, which is Google My Business. And the next step is going to be entering your Google My Business review URL. So if you click where do I find this, I have a video that explains where you can find your Google My Business review URL. But for this case, we'll just copy the expected format sample and we will paste it. And the last question is, would you like to give your customer a gift for providing their review? So if you want to give your customer, say, a coupon off their next purchase, or a freebie like a t-shirt or a coffee mug, you can do that here. So if you say yes, it's going to ask you what type of gift. You can say product or coupon, and then you would then designate what you want to give your customer for providing their review on your Google My Business or whichever platform you select, what you want to give them for providing their review. But for this case, we'll say no. And the last question is, how would you like to request reviews? So there's two types of review requests. You can request reviews automatically via your point of sale or your like what you run your business on. So say QuickBooks. So we'll select this and kind of go over the different integrations. So, say you run a coffee shop and you have Clover as your point of sale, you could select Clover. Or say you run on HubSpot, you can select HubSpot. And in this way, basically every order that you process will be, the customer profile on that order will be sent a request to leave a review on the platform that you selected in the previous step. And I'll kind of go over more in detail how that looks a little bit later in the demo. But the other type of review request is requesting the review manually. So essentially, say again, you're a coffee shop and you have you don't collect your customers' information. So it's just, people coming in and you don't have their email or phone number, but you still want to collect their review. So you can take your QR code and you can either print that on your receipt. So there's a bunch of different options down here. You can print on sales receipt for immediate access, your invoices, integrations, review cards, review stands, your business card if you want reviews on your business card, or the link on your business card, packing inserts, emails. So I also give you the link here. So if you click that, that will take you to your review page. And we will get into a little more detail here. And you also have access to the support site, which gives you more information on basically everything about the site. So you can read up on that there. But for now, we'll continue to our dashboard. So here you are at the dashboard and you have some stats here, all-time stats, page views, ratings, reviews. You have average star ratings. You have a graph of when the ratings and reviews and page views occurred. You could also extend that out if you want. You can view today only. And then at the very bottom, you have reviews that have come in. And I'll go more into detail on what this means in a second. But just going down the left side here, I'll start at campaigns. So essentially a campaign is if you have a list of customers that you want to send a review request to, you can create a campaign and you can basically batch send a review request. And the way that's done is you have your contacts. So you would come over to contacts, you would add a list of contacts. You can add a single contact or you can bulk upload. And then in your campaigns, you can create a campaign. So first we're going to select our time zone. So we're Pacific time. And then we will hop back to campaigns. and we'll name our campaign. We will choose a template. So a template is just the text of the review request, and you create that over here. So you go to create a template, you create an email template, and it basically says, template name, your email subject line. So, hey, first name, how's your experience with business name? And these are dynamic tags that get filled in before it sends. So your email heading, this is kind of like an inbox thing. So you see your subject line, and then immediately underneath you see your heading. If you're kind of quickly glancing at all the emails in your inbox. So this is just another way to kind of improve click-through rate on your emails. You have your email body. So thank you for choosing business name. Would you please take a moment to tell us about your experience? We have our review links down here. So what's going to happen if we click our review link? It's going to characters. And again, this is going to be filled in with the actual link on the back end before the email is sent. But this is essentially what the email will say. Thank you for choosing business name. Would you please take a moment to tell us about your experience? Review ReviewStream on Google My Business, and then the link to Google My Business. So then if we save that, so I won't save that now, but I will hop over to campaigns, and we'll go back to creating a campaign. So we'll name our campaign. We will choose the template that we just created on the last step, choose our contacts, who we want to send to. So you also have the ability to create groups and tags. So you can filter down to tags or groups. And then you can schedule your campaign. So if you want to send it immediately, or if you want to send it in the future, you can select your date and time. So that is campaigns in a nutshell. And hopping down here to platforms. So this is that first step that we looked at in the signup flow. So if you ever wanted to collect reviews on more platforms, you could come here and, say you want reviews on Yelp, you can create Yelp, you'd select Yelp and then save. And then now you have the option to get reviews on Yelp for your business, which I'll hop into here. So your businesses, we created a review stream. We also now want to collect reviews on Yelp. So you have the option to add a link to Yelp. So you'd find your Yelp business ID. Again, there's a tutorial explaining how to find that. So in this case, we'll just copy this ID here. We'll paste that in. And if you wanted to upload an image of your business, you could do that here. So we'll save. Then now you have both Google and Yelp. And this will all start to make sense when we look at the landing pages. But before that, I will hop into giveaways. And like I said, you have the option to create a product or a coupon giveaway. And essentially what that means is if you create a survey, you can give your customer the ability to select a giveaway. So basically the whole premise is, say you're a car wash and you want to give away a free car wash if the customer leaves a review on Google. You would essentially create a giveaway. You would create a coupon. You would say free and, apply this to your business type, but you could say free car wash, and then you would say coupon type. You can make it either a single use coupon code, which is a unique coupon code that can only be utilized once. So, if say you're doing $50 gift cards, you don't want somebody to be able to claim, $50 gift card after $50 gift card after $50 gift card. So you'll want to input, unique values separated by a comma, So that's the single use coupon code. But if you don't care if somebody redeems your coupon code multiple times, you can say, free car wash. And this would be basically available to everybody. So you would never run out of coupon codes like you would in single use. If your customers, redeem, then you would be essentially out of coupon codes if you had 3 coupon codes. And then last is you have the email template, then you have the description, but the email template is your chance to say, here's your free car wash. And then you can then customize your email template to say, hello, first name, thank you for participating. Here's a reward for your giveaway. And, customize this however you want. And again, there's a short code that allows you to inject the coupon code, the giveaway name, and first name, so first name coupon code, to customize the email however you want. And then you have the giveaway description, so you can describe to your customer what this is. So you can say free car wash. And essentially, so like I was saying in the survey, your customer has the ability to select which giveaway they want. So this giveaway description gives your customer the ability to kind of toggle through the different giveaways and read briefly about each giveaway before they make their selection. And I'll go into more detail here when we create a survey, which I will do right now. So a survey is a landing page that allows you to collect reviews from your customer and give them something in return for their review. So there's 3 types of landing pages. There's surveys, review pages, and direct link pages. But surveys are the only landing page that allows your customer to claim a free gift in exchange for their review. So essentially with ReviewStream, there's no validation that your customer has left a review on your listing on Google My Business or Amazon. You're essentially going to give your customer a free gift regardless of if they leave their review. And we'll get into what that looks like here in a minute. But essentially, you don't want to, in order to stay within terms of service for these platforms, you don't want to essentially make it required that your customer leaves a review in order to get a free gift. So by making it essentially optional to leave a review, you're giving your customer a free gift regardless. And if they leave the review on Google, great. If not, you're not going to hold it over their head to leave a review. So this is kind of how you get around that terms of service issue where you can't compensate your customer for them providing you a review on the platform. But we will get into kind of what all that looks like here in a minute. So in this case, we will actually create a survey. So we'll say test. So you name it, you select what you want to get reviews on. So it looks like we didn't create that giveaway. So what we will do is we will come back to giveaways. We'll add a giveaway. We'll just create a t-shirt. We won't do a giveaway image. We'll just do a description, t-shirt, giveaway SKU. So if you connect to your 3PL provider, or if you have a warehouse where you store goods and you have a SKU for this item and you want to ship this item to your customer, you could essentially automate that process of fulfilling this giveaway by giving it the SKU name that this has in your warehouse. And we'll get into that a little bit later. So we'll just say 1, 2, 3. So we now have our t-shirt. We'll come down here to surveys. We will add a survey. Sorry, I got to fix that link. And survey name. So we'll do test. We will select ReviewStream. So what would you like to get reviews on? So we want to get reviews on ReviewStream. We want to get reviews on Google My Business. And essentially, this question is saying, do you want to require your customer to click off to Google My Business before being allowed to claim their giveaway? So there's a step in the process that allows your customer to click off to Google My Business. And basically the clicking of that button, you can make required, optional, or essentially don't show that button at all. And what this does is before the customer is allowed to proceed to claim their giveaway, they can either be required to click off to Google My Business. You can make that optional, or you can not show that button at all. So if you require it, your customer will be required to click off to Google before they're allowed to proceed to claim their giveaway. So, this is going to have the highest click-through rate and the highest review rate. But again, per those TOS kind of requirements, you can make that optional, or you can not show the link off to Google My Business at all. And you can do the same thing for Yelp as well. And essentially the good thing about this is on the survey, you'll have the ability to show multiple platforms. So if your customer's coming in and they had an experience with your business and you want them to leave a review on Google and Yelp, they'll be shown both platforms. So you can say, I want to require my customer to click off to Google, and I want to require my customer to click off to Yelp before they're allowed to proceed to claim their t-shirt. So this way, instead of only getting a review on Google or Yelp, you're getting a review on Google and Yelp. So that is a great feature. Because, reviews don't just belong on Google, right? Like if you could syndicate your reviews to all the platforms that you have, that's what you want, right? Because you don't know how your customer researches these products. Some people might go off to Yelp heavily or Google heavily, and, you want to reach them, or you want to show them these reviews where they're researching. So if somebody left a review on Google only, the person who researches on Yelp wouldn't find that, glaring 5-star review. So this allows that review to essentially be syndicated to Google and Yelp. And then here you have what giveaways would you like to make eligible. So we only have a t-shirt, but like I said, with that description portion, if you had multiple giveaways, you could select multiple giveaways and the customer would be shown a drop down of that would essentially say, what giveaway would you like to receive today? And they would then, kind of cycle through all the different giveaways, read about them per the description and proceed from there. So validate entry, this is kind of a cool feature. So validate entry allows you to essentially gate the entry to your survey unless your customer has a valid entry code. So an entry code is a unique string of characters that essentially it's like a password to get into the survey. So since you're giving away something of value, right, like a t-shirt, you don't want just anybody coming into the survey. You want to gate entry to the survey, and you gate entry to the survey via entry codes, which you create down here in validation tools. You can create essentially batches of entry codes that you would then distribute to your customer with your request for their review. You would essentially say, like, here's your password, or here's your entry code. Use this when you land on the survey. Or you could just allow anybody into your survey if you say no, but there will be essentially no safeguards in the claiming of your giveaway unless you kind of do your due diligence on the back end to ensure that the people that are actually finishing your survey are your actual customers. So down here you have your rating, review, and picture options. So you can ask for 3 things from your customer. You can ask for their rating of their experience with your business. So you can say, yes, I want to ask my customer for a rating, or no, I don't care about collecting a rating for my customer. We'll say yes. And then there's also the rating requirement. So similar to the requirement here of the user clicking off to Google or Yelp, you also have the requirement down here of the user leaving a rating on your product or business. So if you say yes, then the user won't be allowed to proceed to the next step unless they leave you a rating. And same thing down here, you have your minimum star rating. So you could say, I only want ratings of a 4 or greater to be shown the option to leave their review on Google or Yelp. So in some cases, the reason why we developed this is in some cases, some people leave reviews that aren't indicative of your product at all. It's something like, and I've seen these before, it's like, I haven't had an experience with this business, 1 star. So it's somebody who just doesn't know what they're doing, or it's something that is like out of your control. So if you're an Amazon seller and Amazon crushes your box and breaks the coffee mug inside of the box, that's not your issue, right? That's Amazon crushing the box, but your customer doesn't know that. They come in and they leave you a 1 star and say, it showed up broken. That's out of your control as a business owner, and you shouldn't have that 1 star review on your permanent record. So you should be able to filter down to essentially only 4 or 5 star reviews to come in because of those kind of unknown factors. But if you essentially want to allow every star rating to proceed to be able to leave their review on Google or the platform of your choice, you could make that a 1 star. So same thing for review. So would you like to collect a review? Yes or no? If yes, do you want to require it? So you can, again, kind of customize how you want that to look. We'll say no for the purposes of this. So next is ask for a picture or video. So a picture or video essentially can improve the metadata of your review on the platform. So if somebody took a picture of their, chicken pad thai at your Thai restaurant, you would want that picture, right? Because pictures on these review sites are a great way to kind of show your product. So asking for a picture or video is great. And you can also require the picture or video by clicking require. But for the purposes of this, we'll say no. And the last thing is enable redirect. So once your customer is completed with their survey, you can redirect them out to your .com site, to the review platform. You can essentially send them anywhere you want them to go once they are completed with the survey. For this, we will say no, though, and we'll save. Okay, so we created our survey. We have the name, page views, ratings, reviews, so you can kind of see some analytics. We also have an analytics page for this survey only. So once we start collecting some data, we will start to populate these columns. But for now, we will view it. Oh yeah, you also have your QR code. So if you wanted to download your QR code, you could do that there. Or if you wanted to edit your survey, you could do that there. All right, so we will view our survey. So first things first, you have the terms of service that the customer has to agree to. So essentially what this is saying is, since you're giving your customer a giveaway, you don't want your customer to be influenced by that giveaway. You want your customer's honest opinion. So you want their, brutal, honest opinion. You don't want them to give you only a good review because you're giving them a free product or a free coupon. Just because you're giving them a coupon or a product doesn't mean that you want only a positive review. And that's what this is saying. It's saying no bias expected. If a free gift is being offered, your receiving of the gift is not contingent upon providing a positive review. So, you want your customers 1-star reviews, right? Like, you don't want only 5-star reviews, because 1-stars are, provide more insight into your business operations than 5 stars in most cases, right? Because you want those critical reviews. So by clicking this, your customer is agreeing to proceed to your survey and agreeing to the terms of service. So your customer could come in, they could give you a 5-star review. They could say, this is optional, like we said. So you could say it was great. But again, this next step button, you don't have to have a value in this in order to enable the next step button, because we've only made rating required. But you could say it was great, or your customer could say that. Click next step. And then this one says, we're glad you're enjoying ReviewStream. Please consider leaving your feedback for ReviewStream on the following platforms. So like we talked about, we enabled Google and Yelp, and we made these required. So as you can see, the customer can't proceed to the next step because they haven't pasted off to these platforms. So step 1 is copy your rating and review. So you're shown the rating and you're shown the review. And the customer must click the copy review button in order to enable the paste to platform buttons. So as you can see, we will click off to Google, and we will have the ability to sign into Google if you're not signed in, and then you'll be able to leave a review on that platform. And same thing with Yelp. You can then leave your rating and paste your review, which is on your clipboard, and then post your review. So as you can see, once you've satisfied those conditions, you've copied, you've pasted, you're now allowed to proceed to claim your giveaway. So thank you for your feedback. Enjoy a free gift on us. Enjoy a free t-shirt. So again, if we had left a description, we would be able to see the description. Or if we had multiple giveaways selected, you would see a drop down where you could then select your giveaway. But since the only giveaway is a t-shirt, we will click next step. And then from here, to receive your free gift, please enter your information below. So you could say your information. So since this is a physical product that requires shipping, we will enter our shipping information. 123 ABC Street, Pleasantville, Alabama, 12345, and complete survey. So thank you for your feedback. Your free gift is on its way. Please allow 1 or 2 weeks for delivery. So there's essentially 2 types of that previous screen. So the coupon isn't a physical item, so it won't require the customer to enter their shipping information. It would just be first name, last name, email, phone. But since we are doing a t-shirt, which is a product or a physical item, we need your customer's shipping information, or you need your customer shipping information to ship their free t-shirt. So we will come back to surveys, and again, so actually we'll come here, we'll look at the dashboard. So since we refreshed that page a few times, it's going to show page views kind of skewed a little bit, but this is just a demo. But you can see that you received 1 rating, 1 review, and you can see down here, it came in July 17th at 11 a.m. The item reviewed was ReviewStream. You can see their rating, you can see their review. And if you click in, you could see basically the entire review object. So that is surveys. And again, yeah, you can, so the dashboard is an all up view. So it shows you all of your landing pages analytics. But if you want to look at analytics for this survey only, or a review page or a direct link page, you would just click on the little analytics link here. So that is surveys. So next we will be going over review pages, which is essentially a survey without any free gift giveaway. So we will jump into what that looks like here. So we will create a review page. We will say test. So what would you like to get reviews on? So all this is going to look familiar, but the only thing that doesn't show up in this section is that giveaway section. So you're not giving your customer a giveaway for providing their review. So there's, it's all about conversion rate, right? Like if you give your customer a free gift, you're going to have a higher conversion rate, especially with all those other kind of requirement features, and you can it's like a sliding scale, like how stringent do you want to be to get a review on the platform? If you require everything, you're going to get the highest amount of reviews. And this is kind of like going down the list a little bit. So this does not require this does not give your customer a giveaway. As such, you might get a lower conversion rate, but it's still a way to ask your customer for a review. And, again, if you're kind of concerned about the terms of service aspect, this is like the pared down version of surveys. So it's essentially a survey without that giveaway aspect to it. So we'll show you what that looks like here. So what would you like to get reviews on? We'll say Google, we'll say Yelp. And as you can see, there's no requirement aspects because there's no next step after this to claim your giveaway. So you don't necessarily need to make this required, or you don't need to make this required is a better way to put that. So ask for rating, but you'll see all the same features here. So ask for rating, yes or no. We will ask for a rating. We will require it. We'll leave it at 1. We'll ask for a review. We'll require a review just to show you what that looks like. And ask for picture or video. We'll say no on that one. So you can see here, we will view this. And essentially, you land at this page. So instead of seeing the terms of service acceptance, you essentially just land only at this page. And this is the only page your customer will see. So this is just a simple review request. And your customer can come here and provide their review. And like you saw, you still have the ability to do the minimum star rating. So you could essentially just say thank you if they leave a 1-star, rather than showing them the links off to the platforms. So what we will do here is we will say we had a great experience. And another thing about the requiring the review is that we as ReviewStream and you as the proprietor, we require 50 characters in order to proceed to the next step. So typically, people will just say like it was great, which doesn't provide much in the way of, metadata or information really about their experience. So, that's only 12 characters, right? Like nobody's going to glean much information from that. And, especially with Google and Yelp and Amazon and essentially all these platforms, they're all prioritizing, the amount of metadata on your reviews in order to surface your reviews appropriately. So if you have more metadata, if you have 50 plus characters, all that factors into like the score of your item on these platforms. So essentially the more metadata, like this is where images are great too. So an image is a valuable piece of metadata, just like, more characters on your reviews is also a valuable piece of metadata. So you want your customer to actually think about their review. You don't just want them to provide a short, lazy review here. You want them to actually think about their experience and, to basically tell you like in detail, how is your experience? So for the purposes of this, just to kind of bypass the character limit, we'll just copy and paste that, but you get the gist about why we have the character limit. So you can see here, it's that same page, right? So we're glad you're enjoying ReviewStream. So all the buttons are just available. You don't have to click copy. We'd appreciate it if you left your review on these businesses. Again, there's like, the customer can just end here and, so it doesn't have that kind of requirement to click off to Google or Yelp. But, you as the proprietor, you have access to that minimum star rating cutoff. And you also get this rating on your dashboard. So that, it was great, it was great, it was great. So you still see their review. It's just not left on the platform. But it's your customer's decision, right? They can come in, they can copy to clipboard, they can paste off to the platform, Google My Business, Yelp, as many times as they want. We don't disable that or anything. So that is a review page in a nutshell. And last but not least is your direct link page. So down here you have direct links. And what a direct link is essentially it doesn't land on ReviewStream like the last two have, right? This says localhost, but in reality it would say, app.ReviewStream.ai. So this is on ReviewStream. This is not on, this doesn't link directly to Google like your direct links do. So in the setup process, when we went through step 1, step 2, step 3, you essentially created, and this was that QR code and link that you saw, you created a direct link where, and we'll just go ahead and create another one just to show you how it works. So direct link name, we'll name it test, and what would you like to get reviews on? So there's kind of two options here. So Google My Business, if you want reviews, only on Google, you can enable this here where if you save this, and I'll show you how this works, like you still want to see how many people are visiting your review page via your link. So you want to monitor your analytics, right? You want to see how many people are viewing your link and, see if how your investment is paying off, right? So you'll see what happens here when I click the eyeball. You'll see a loading icon, and then it'll link off to Google. So that loading icon essentially loaded a page view onto this direct link. So it's literally that. It's a direct link. It hits ReviewStream, it logs that page view, and then it links off to Google. So you can see, if you have that review stand on your coffee shop counter, how many people are actually scanning my QR code or my NFC chip or so this allows you a way to track that data. And again, like we have on the other ones, so that's the single platform selection. But if you do a multi-platform selection, we'll see what that looks like here. So ReviewStream has invited you to provide your review on Google and Yelp. So instead of just linking off to only Google, it links to ReviewStream and gives the customer the option to leave their review on Google or leave their review on Yelp. So in this option, we don't collect a rating or a review on ReviewStream. We just kind of leave it to the customer to be like, oh, what is my preferred review platform form of choice? Like me, I've left review on Google. I haven't left a review on Yelp, so I'm going to click Google. Or your customer can leave their review on multiple platforms. But that is direct links in a nutshell. And a little bit further down, we have our validation tools. So we will go over these real quick. Entry codes. So like we talked about with the surveys, if you enable validation, you can create a batch of entry codes. So in this case, it would be, for test survey, right? So it'd be for our test survey that we created, but you can make this, say whatever you want. But essentially, you're creating a batch of entry codes. So batch size. So if you wanted to create, 1,000 entry codes, because you can essentially, so if you're doing, say, a free car wash and you want to mail merge your QR codes so that the customer that's coming in, essentially already has that pre-validated entry code attached to their URL, you can create essentially the unique codes that will go on into the QR code. And this will make sense here in a second, but we'll do that. And then we'll select ReviewStream and we'll click save. And I'm not sure why it's saying unknown survey, but essentially you say you get a list of links or you get a list of QR codes. And that typically downloads. It had to load up there, but these have unique values assigned to the survey and the item name on the survey. So it's essentially a pre-validated entry into the giveaway page. So like we talked about how you can validate entries. So, the $50 gift card example, right? You don't want anybody coming in and claiming a $50 gift card. But, if somebody bought a high value item from you and you want their review and you want to give them a $50 gift card, you could come in, you can create them an entry code and send that to them and be like, hey, use this entry code. And that's the link option, the QR code option. Again, if you want to mail merge QRs onto your, if you're giving away a free car wash, and I'll use an example. I got my car washed and they gave me an air freshener that had a QR code on it that said, claim your free car wash. You could essentially ensure that every air freshener that you give out, if you're the car wash owner, that every air freshener you give out is a unique entry into the survey to claim a free car wash, and that just not anybody is coming into your survey. And the last validation tool is the upload setter. So if you wanted to upload unique values, so if you're an Amazon seller and you sell, a bottle of supplements, you sell 100 bottles in a day, for example, each one of those sales has a unique order number attached to it that you could upload here. And essentially it would act as instead of the entry codes, these the order numbers would act as the entry into the survey, but it would be on you to upload those values, daily or whatever. And that's also not assuming that you don't connect Amazon or connect QuickBooks or connect, Shopify to automatically validate those order numbers. So that is the left side in a nutshell. And you have your account settings. So you can change your first name, last name, company name. You can add a company logo. So as you saw up here, this value here would be, or this image here would be replaced by your company logo. And you change your password. You can subscribe to billing, and you can also add users or change roles here. So long and short of it, that is a complete rundown of ReviewStream. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.